Good evening, folk. This is Justin again from Basis Limited. This is a video about the Codan NGT AR voice mobile system that we have installed in our vehicles. The particular video we're going to do today is how we end up sending messages to our web page, and also GPS coordinates and other functions that we can do on the web page, which is very useful when we're out and about doing our four-wheel driving or out in remote areas where there's no cell coverage and we need to maintain contact. Now, we could be gone for a day, a few hours, or a number of days. Either way, this system has been set up to help us with communicating with everyone outside via short messages, and also just providing locations of where we're at. So we start off, we go to the browser web page. In this case I'm using an iPad, but you can use a computer or any other device that displays websites. You open up your browser, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to type in nz.hftrack.com. Okay, now I've obviously done this before, so you're seeing the websites coming up below, but I'll just do it again so that it's clear to everybody how we do it, and then we can go through the process of logging in. So we hit go. Now I've got my browser bookmark open. Before I even save this to a bookmark, I just want to quickly log in. In this case, you got to put in your cell call number. Mine is 5930, and I've previously saved my password in the password dialog box. So you'd normally just type in your cell call first, which is 5930, or whatever your number may be, 59282739, whatever it is. And then your password is your password. So I'll just quickly pop in my password here, and iPad obviously allows me to short track that process because it remembers my password from a while back. And you just press sign in, and you're now in the page. Okay, now before you go any further, I suggest the first thing we do now is we add this to our bookmarks. So in iPad, I can just add this as a bookmark, and it'll be saved as one, and I hit save. In Chrome or Explorer, you can do the same by saving the page as a bookmark so that you can come back to it later. Alright, I'll close that off, and now we see the page as you would online. Okay, so earlier in our videos, I showed you how we sent various GPS messages from the mobile unit to our base computer, in which case our home computer, which we log into nz.hftrack.com, put in our details, and we now have access to the information that the mobile units, the Codan NGT AR voice units, have sent through to the base computer via the website. And I just want to reiterate what I said before. So we send a message from the vehicle, it goes out to a receiving radio station, which picks up our transmitting, and then converts it into a web page by placing it online. Okay, so the first thing we got is GPS references, and we spoke a bit earlier the GPS coordinates that I sent through from the car through to 5959, which is the coordinate, the base station I'll be transferring to, and the 5959 is actually the cell call number for this web page to receive our information. Now, the information I sent in terms of coordinates is found in this list that's below, which is in received GPS refs. Okay, So the first blue button, that's in the center of the page of the three at the top. We've got 2 GPS coordinates that came through, which I sent from the vehicle. And if I press any one of those on the right under the coordinates list, you will open up another page, and it then puts you on a map. Okay. In this case, it'll be just standard Google map showing the location of the place that we were at. So I can zoom in more specifically and then go to the location close up as Google would allow me. Alright, so that's done there, and obviously the details are quite relevant, so it gives you the information, a tag information of which mobile it is. So it's my mobile 5930, date and time it was sent, and what channel I used to send it. As you can recall, we used channel 7 at the time. Alright, I'll just close off this page and the map, and we go back to the GPS reference list. Okay, so this is very important. This is the kind of thing that we'll send through from our vehicle. It will be logged onto this web page, and if you have a receiving party such as a wife, a friend, or whoever, a company that needs to determine your location, this is what will come up. And again, I reiterate again, it's a good breadcrumb type system where you're just dropping your position as you're moving along, and then makes any form of recovery or rescue a lot easier when you've sent in the coordinates. And certainly also tracks that if you're working in a commercial environment, you can also use this as a lone working setup. So if you've got a single person who has to go out remotely, do something, and you want to just make sure that person is safe, their responsibility would be to send in a GPS from the vehicle, and it'll pop up in this list. And you can do it on a time frame where they have to do it every hour or every half hour or whatever the requirements are. Okay, so you will populate a long list of GPS coordinates through time, and a lot of this becomes redundant information. So there's an option now to either save these references, which you can keep and use for, say, a favorite 4x4 hunting spot, or a position that you weren't quite sure how to get there, but at least you now you able to locate it again, so you can keep them in saved references over here. In this case, I haven't got any saved yet, but that's fine. We can save in the next few weeks when we go out again. Okay. However, if we feel like, alright, we've created so many lists of GPS coordinates and we want to get rid of some, you can either individually select these by pressing or ticking on the boxes to the left of the list of coordinates, alright, or unselecting them by similarly pressing them again, or you could select all and delete them. Alright, so those are gone. And if we ever want to create more coordinates, we have to go back to the radio and send them back again. So that's GPS coordinates. We can obviously save them if they were there by pressing the Save GPS Ref button next to the Delete red button. Okay. The next screen is also quite a useful screen, which is on the left hand side. You've got emergency calls, GPS reference, manual GPS entry. In this situation here, I would hardly use this. It's a case where you don't have a GPS coordinate, or you do and you want to see where it is in the map. You can do, but I just don't bother about it. It's not really something I'd need. But the next list down on the left hand side is text messages. Okay, so we got text messages that are received, and this is great because I sent one off to myself from the vehicle at about 11:24 this morning, and as I explained in my video, I rattled off a load of rubbish. MJPT TAD 5556354. Like I said, sounds like a bit of a telephone number from an American movie, but normally that message would be more specific and more relevant to what you're trying to communicate. You're trying to tell somebody in a limit of 64 characters an instruction or an update as to your position. Okay, bear in mind we're not out 4x4ing and having long chit-chat conversations. These are specifically developed so that we can give short, precise messages of our intentions or what our requests are to the base station computer that you have at home. Okay, and again, it's the same situation where you have the option of selecting each text or selecting all the texts and deleting them. In this case, I'll delete it. Okay. Send text messages, basically messages that have been sent or saved messages, any messages that you wish to have saved, or anything older than 14 days. Just obviously gives you a 2-week window to go through. Okay, so those are the four blue boxes or buttons at the middle of the page that you have up here. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Okay, we actually are able to send a text message to the radio. Okay, and I will not be able to show you in this video the message received, but I assure you it will come. However, I need to explain a few things. I'll write in a message. In this case, I'll write a message. Hi, got your message. Call me, me when ready. Okay, so that's your base station now, which is myself, sending a message back to the vehicle, which is out in the middle of nowhere without reception. So I can do that by pressing send the message. Okay, now this is where I need to explain a bit further what's going on. The message has gone out, so it's gone through the server, and it's populated itself from the radio station that transmits and receives these messages to our web page, and it's now being sent out to my radio. However, I may not be able to receive it just yet. Okay, this is the only slight downfall, but it's not a drama because it will go through. It will try 3 times where it obviously attempts to send the message out to my radio. In this situation, if it doesn't go through, because my radio may be off or well out of frequency or whatever may be, the radio will not receive the message. And however, it will actually grab the message once the radio sends through an updated text or GPS. Now, you got to think to yourself, I'm sitting in the middle of the bush here. I sent a text message back. I'm waiting for a message to come through. I haven't heard anything for the last 30 minutes. Well, in that case, just send through a GPS update. Okay. The reason why we do that is that once you sent a GPS update, it almost brings the radio that's receiving your information alive, and any parked messages such as this one, and you'll see the little red exclamation mark saying unsent, it'll it'll remember that it has to send that out to you, and the minute you sent your GPS update, it'll revert back by sending you this message. Hi, got your message, call me when ready. Okay, now, not ideal. Obviously, we want it to be a smooth and backwards and forwards messaging. So the radio can send a message uninterrupted without any issues to your computer, but the reverse has some barriers. And that's so that the computer isn't sitting there chopping out messages upon messages amongst frequencies and channels that would just congest the airways and prohibit other users from using the frequencies. So it pauses after 3 attempts, and it'll just say, right, when you next send me a message or a GPS, I will send this through immediately with it. Okay, now it could carry on, and you could actually get the message sent. Sometimes I've had it before where I've driven down the road, and bing, the text message came along. I didn't even touch the radio, it just popped up. So that might happen, and if that's the case, good luck. If not, don't panic. It will come through, and it will obviously it will be passed through the radio for the user to act on. So in this case, I've asked call me when you're ready, and then I'll get the message in the vehicle, and it'll be fine. Okay. Now I can't send another text message because this one's already queued in the process. So if I try to send another message, hello, are you there? It'll give me a warning sign, can't send it. Let me just minimize that. Hello, are you there? And try and send it. It'll say, no, sorry. If you're seeing this message, the mobile you're trying to send has one waited to be sent to it by either yourself or another user. This will not be able to leave a message until either sent or deleted. Please try again later. Okay, so that's the problem with trying to send a message that is queued, in this case this one here. Alright, if by any stage the message starts transmitting, you will normally see the yellow warning sign or triangle sign, and then means that it's pending, it's in process, and then when it's sent and received by the radio, it'll have a green tick saying sent and confirmed. Alright, and not to worry, because I'm not at the radio at the moment, I'm not really, if I was at the radio, I would go and press a GPS send, and I'll get the message. So it's more for the user in the vehicle to actually initiate a response, or continue to try receiving messages in this instance. And things might change, you never know, it might something might be different, but I understand why it can't, and I'm trying to explain to you users out there, if you see a red dot there, don't panic. It just means the user needs to just send in another message or a GPS reference. Okay, and by all means send in as many GPS references as possible so that you do get your message from the base computer to your radio when you're out in the bush. Okay. I'll just delete this. Well, no, I won't delete it actually. I'll just leave it for now. I'll go to the next stage, and I will show you how to invite a friend. Okay, so you may have a friend that you want to access this particular messaging system. Now, I don't recommend doing it. I had a chat with Malcolm, the developer, and whilst it's good, I've got my wife there, Ruth, and we created an account for her. The reality is she's just a lot easier using my one rather than creating another login. It just makes the processes and steps a little harder to transmit messages outwards. So from the radio down towards your home where your wife is. So in this instance, I say just invite a friend. and stick with the communications between yourself and one user. Okay, the other one's got a change password option, which you don't have to worry about if you don't want to change it. And then you got final lock button on the left hand side, which is log out if you want to log out. There's also a list where you've created emergency calls. So any calls in the past that you may have created. In this instance, none have been created. I haven't needed to sound the alarm for any emergencies. But I'll just say that all in all, this web page may seem very simple, and probably a good reason for that, so that it doesn't overcomplicate everything. It's really such a good little system. I'm doing it on an iPad. I've used it on my iPhone as well. It's actually very responsive. Inward messages and inward GPSs come in. If there were a problem that you received a message or a phone call, you could always assist rescue services with your last known position by selecting the GPS references, and whatever the last set of GPS coordinates that were sent through, that can be fed through to the emergency team. Or alternatively, click on the GPS coordinates like I showed you before, and you see the location of the person. Okay, so that's basically using the nzhftrack.com webpage. Again, I recommend you get in the car, give it a blast, try sending in those GPS coordinates, send in those text messages, and come back and have a look at them online so that you can see things are working and you can see the functionality of it. It is actually not that difficult. You do not have to remember the web address if you save it as a bookmark, and you do not have to log in again. So it's actually very simple, very responsive. It automatically updates, and it's a good tool for going back and recording your positions when you don't necessarily, or you forget to do it while you're out four-wheel driving. And also gives everybody peace of mind and certainty that when you're out in the backcountry facing the elements, you're actually okay and you're in contact. Alright, that's all for me. I'll finish up for now. If there's any questions, please leave your comments below, and I'll hopefully try and assist. Cheers.